Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
My name's Rajarshi. I'm a consultant general physician here in Oxford, and I also do a research program in liver disease, and I run a company called Perspectum Diagnostics, whose aim is to develop products to help liver disease diagnostics. So the team consists of the 4 founders. So myself, Stefan Neubauer, who was my PhD supervisor, Matthew Robson, who's the chief MR physicist in the cardiac MR centre at the hospital, and Sir Mike Brady, who is a serial entrepreneur and professor of oncological engineering at the university. Between the 4 of us, we have a variety of skill sets, both in trial design, image acquisition and image processing, software design, and business development. And between the 4 of us, we thought that we could take this forward to the stage where we would have a tool that could be used on any scanner in the world to diagnose liver disease within 2 years. And that's still our aim.
Tell us about the importance of liver disease.
The Chief Medical Officer for England has labelled liver disease as her #1 health priority. The reason being, it's very hard to diagnose. It affects probably 1 in 4 of the UK adult population. And currently there's only a paucity of treatments for it. And the problem is several-fold. The 3 main types of liver disease are alcohol-related liver disease, viral hepatitis, and fatty liver disease. And it's the last one that's the real problem, because with the obesity epidemic, more and more of us are getting fatty liver disease. The difficulty with spotting fatty liver disease is the people you're trying to diagnose it in tend to be quite large. So ultrasound doesn't work very well in big people, simply because the acoustic window from the probe to the liver is poor. CT scans might be able to diagnose it, but they carry a radiation risk. So the only method of imaging that would work reliably in this diagnostic format would be MRI. So what we've done is designed an MR protocol, or magnetic resonance protocol, which measures the amount of fat in the liver, the amount of scarring or inflammation, and the amount of iron, which are the 3 metrics that you would get from a liver biopsy, and it can do it all in less than 20 minutes. And the time, I think, is important, because if you're going to design a test for use in the NHS or any other major healthcare organisation, you can't design a test that is either too cumbersome or too long. It just isn't cost effective. You can use it on any MRI scanner that is commercially available. We'll tell you which images to acquire, and we've got an algorithm that takes those images together, corrects the amount of fat for the amount of water and the amount of water for the amount of iron, and gives you a readout that says you have so much fat, so much fibrosis, and so much iron.
And how have you validated this clinically?
So the best way of diagnosing liver disease at the moment is with a liver biopsy. So we ran a study where we invited anyone who was going to have a liver biopsy for clinical reasons to come have an MRI scan first, which several people signed up to. And we tried to predict the results of their liver biopsy from the MRI scans. And we were right over 95% of the time. And liver biopsies are expensive. They cost between £800 and £2,000 per patient, and patients don't like them.
How can we make sure that this system is introduced into the NHS?
In terms of designing a tool for use in the NHS, I think one has to demonstrate that the tool is safe, is better than existing methods in a quantifiable format, so quicker, cheaper, or preferable to patients, and will have a meaningful effect once the capital costs of its introduction have been taken into account.
What was your motivation for setting up a business?
When I finished the research, we had different options as to how to pursue it. We registered the intellectual property, and I sat down with my PhD supervisor, and various options were presented to us. We could either license out the intellectual property or set up a business to develop it ourselves. Whereas setting up a business and taking a more active management of how we took this intellectual property forward seemed very attractive to us, because we could see it being used in patients within a matter of years.
How did you raise the money to start the business?
So initially we set the business up with £4, £1 each from the founders in a bank account. Then we set up a little bit of seed capital so that we could do some very basic things. Get a bank account, register with Companies House, get a lawyer, get an accountant, and set ourselves up.
What is your vision for the future of this business?
We have written a TSB, or Technology Strategy Board, grant proposal, which won last month, and have been awarded £1.2 million in funding so that we can develop the software and test it in Birmingham and Edinburgh to see if it is equivalent or superior to liver biopsy in the diagnosis of liver disease.
And how do you balance being a clinician and being a business owner?
The people I work with in business, I think, like and respect the fact that I work in hospital as well, because it gives, certainly for healthcare innovation, a direct link to your future market, and also a direct link to why you're doing it in the first place. We're trying to design tools that help diagnosis of disease, and the biggest inspiration for that is patients.
Who did you go to for help and advice?
Stefan, Matt and myself sat down with Mike Brady, who is a peer of Stefan's, and we pitched to him a potential new way of diagnosing liver disease. I remember this very clearly because Stefan said, "Mike's an engineer, don't talk too much about liver disease or pathology, focus on the technology." And Mike's eyes lit up and said, "This is a huge market. People all over the world have been trying to come up with a diagnostic tool for liver disease." He was involved in reviewing different types of methods with using ultrasound and CT and so on and so forth. And immediately he said, "We can do this." If we wanted to, the only thing limiting us was our ambition.
What advice would you have for other doctors that are interested in setting up a business?
The current Chief Medical Officer recognises the need for innovation and invention in not just the products we use, but also the way we provide healthcare, the design of our workflow. There will be many people that say, "Oh, someone's done it already," or "that will never work," or "someone else might be working on it." You don't know that's true until you've checked it. So if you have an idea that you're passionate about, follow it through to completion. Just the process in itself will be a very useful learning exercise. You have to be honest with yourself. If something works, then you should be bold enough to pursue it. If something doesn't work, accept that as a learning process and move on, or tweak it and see if you can fix the problem.
Dr. Banerjee, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts and insights with us.